Megan took a deep breath, observing her reflection in the office bathroom mirror. Her eyes, usually vibrant, seemed dull and tired. She adjusted her wavy brown hair, trying to give a more professional air to her appearance. At 24, Megan felt lost and out of place, as if she were living someone else's life. Her father's law firm was an imposing environment, with walls panelled in dark wood and framed diploma certificates. Megan walked down the hallway feeling the weight of the gazes from the other lawyers. She knew that many saw her only as the boss's daughter, not as a competent professional in her own right. Upon entering her office, Megan was met with a pile of case files on the desk. She sat down, picking up the first file from the stack, but her mind wandered. This was not what she wanted for her life. Law had never been her passion, just a choice made to please her father. Robert, her father, was an austere and demanding man. Since childhood, Megan remembered him as a distant figure, always busy with work. The rare interactions at home were marked by demands and veiled criticisms. The relationship between her parents was also tense, with frequent arguments echoing through the hallways of the house. The recent separation of her parents had been the trigger for Megan's existential crisis. Seeing her father at 50, starting a romance with a 28-year-old woman, left her with a mix of feelings, anger and disappointment. The phone on her desk rang, pulling Megan out of her daydreams. It was her friend Rebecca. "Hey Meg, ready for another night of fun?" Rebecca's cheerful voice sounded on the other end of the line. Megan hesitated for a moment. Lately, her nights of fun had been accompanied by terrible hangovers and worrying memory lapses, but the prospect of yet another night in the silence of her apartment seemed unbearable. "Sure, Baker. Where are we going today?" Megan replied, with a tone of enthusiasm in her voice. "Oh, actually, it's a family party, my aunt's birthday. I know it's not quite your style, but I thought maybe you'd want a change of pace and I wanted someone to accompany me," Rebecca explained, sounding a little hesitant. Megan pondered for a moment. A family party sounded terribly boring, but maybe it was exactly what she needed. A quiet night, away from the frantic atmosphere of nightclubs. "You know what? Sounds great. What time should I be ready?" A few hours later, Megan found herself in a pleasant garden in the suburbs of the city. Colourful lights hung between the trees, creating a welcoming atmosphere. The smell of food lingered in the air, mixing with the aroma of the garden flowers. Rebecca soon appeared, hugging her friend and introducing her to several members of her family. Megan was surprised to realise that she was genuinely enjoying the relaxed and familiar environment. That's when she saw him. Tall, with slightly messy dark hair and an easy smile, he stood out even in the crowd. Rebecca followed her friend's gaze and smiled. "Ah, that is my cousin Oscar. Come, I'll introduce you," said Rebecca, pulling Megan by the arm. Oscar turned as he saw the two approaching, and his eyes met Megan's. For a moment, she felt as if time had stopped. "Oscar, this is my friend Megan. Megan, my cousin Oscar." Rebecca made the introductions. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Megan," Oscar said, extending his hand. His voice was soft and warm. "The pleasure is mine," Megan replied, feeling a slight blush rise to her cheeks. The conversation flowed naturally between the three of them. Oscar was funny and charming, with a witty sense of humour that made Megan genuinely laugh. He had graduated in architecture and spoke passionately about his projects, his eyes shining with enthusiasm. Megan found herself wanting to impress him, hoping to seem as interesting and passionate as he was. Without realizing it, she started drinking more than she should have, seeking liquid courage to keep the conversation going. The hours flew by and Megan barely noticed how much she was drinking. Her speech began to slur, and she stumbled over her own words. Oscar cast concerned glances at Rebecca, who finally intervened. "Meg, I think it's time for us to go," Rebecca said softly, placing a hand on her friend's shoulder. "But I'm having fun," Megan protested, her voice louder than she intended. "I know, dear, but it's already late. Come on, I'll take you home," Rebecca insisted, gently guiding Megan away from the party. The rest of the night was a blur for Megan. She vaguely remembered Rebecca helping her get inside and taking off her shoes. When she woke up the next morning, shame hit her like a punch in the stomach. Fragments of the previous night flashed through her mind. Oscar's gentle smile, the concern in Rebecca's eyes, the disapproving looks from some older guests. Megan groaned, burying her face in the pillow. With trembling hands, she picked up her phone and typed a message to Rebecca. "Becca, I'm sorry for the embarrassment last night. I don't know what came over me. Please apologize to Oscar for me." Rebecca's reply arrived a few minutes later. "It's all right, Meg, but I'm worried about you. I think we need to talk." Later that day, the two friends met at a quiet cafe. Rebecca looked at Megan with a mix of concern and affection. "Meg, what's going on? You haven't been yourself lately," Rebecca began, her voice gentle yet firm. Megan sighed, playing with the coffee cup in front of her. "I don't know, Baker. I feel lost, like I'm living the wrong life, you know?" Rebecca nodded, encouraging her friend to continue. "Law was never my passion. Working with my father is a nightmare, and now with my parents' separation and my dad dating someone our age, I just want to escape all of this," Megan confided, feeling the tears forming in her eyes. Rebecca reached out, holding Megan's hand. "I understand, dear. But getting drunk every night won't solve anything. You need to find something that gives you stability, something you love to do." Megan nodded, wiping away a stray tear. "I know. I'll try to control myself, I promise." The following weeks were a test of Megan's determination. She tried to cut down on night outings, focusing more on work and healthier activities, but the pressure at the office and the constant reminder of her unsatisfying life led her back to old habits. Then came the weekend of the big party at the city's most popular nightclub. Megan hesitated initially, but the promise of a night of fun and the chance to forget her problems for a few hours were too tempting. The nightclub was a sea of flashing lights and dancing bodies. The music pounded so loud that Megan could feel the vibration in her chest. She and her friends danced enthusiastically, the drinks flowing freely. At first, Megan restrained herself, determined to keep control. But as the night wore on, her resolve weakened. One drink became two, then three, and soon she lost count. The world began to spin around her, the lights merging into a colourful blur. Megan laughed loudly, dancing without coordination. Her friends exchanged worried glances. "Meg, I think it's time for us to go," one of them shouted over the music. "No, I'm having fun," Megan protested, her voice slurred. The argument intensified, with Megan insisting on staying while her friends tried to persuade her to leave. Voices rose, drawing curious looks from other patrons. It was the last thing Megan remembered from that night. Consciousness slowly returned to Megan, like a mist dissipating. She blinked, her eyes adjusting to the soft light coming through the curtains. For a moment, she was disoriented, not recognizing the environment around her. She sat up abruptly, a movement that made her head throb. She was in a king-size bed, the soft and scented sheets against her skin. The room was spacious and elegantly decorated, with dark wooden furniture and gold details. Megan looked at herself, noticing that she was still in the clothes from the previous night, including the high-heeled shoes. Her heart raced. Where was she? How had she gotten there? Her cell phone was on the nightstand. She picked it up, noticing it was already past 11 in the morning. There were several unread messages from her friends asking if she was okay. Beside the cell phone, there was a notepad with the logo of a famous hotel in the city. Megan felt a chill in her stomach. How had she ended up in a luxury hotel without remembering anything? Panic began to set in. Her mind raced with terrible possibilities. Had she been at the mercy of a stranger? Had she been a victim of a crime? She frantically examined the room, searching for any clues. Her purse was intact on an armchair, with all her belongings still inside. There were no signs of a struggle or anything out of place. While Megan tried to organize her thoughts, a soft knock sounded at the door. She froze, heart racing. "Room service," a female voice announced from the other side of the door. With hesitant steps, Megan approached and opened the door. A smiling staff member was pushing a cart with a hearty breakfast. "Good morning, miss. Your breakfast, as requested," the staff member said, entering the room and arranging the meal on a table near the window. Megan observed in silence, still stunned. She didn't remember ordering breakfast. The staff member finished setting everything up and left with a polite smile, leaving Megan alone again. It was then that she noticed a folded card next to the coffee tray. With trembling hands, Megan picked it up and opened it. "I hope you woke up well. Since I didn't know where you lived, I left you at this hotel. Oscar Wood." Megan reread the note several times, the words taking a while to make sense in her confused mind. Oscar? Rebecca's cousin. She didn't remember seeing him the night before. A mix of relief and shame overcame her. On one hand, she was grateful that it was Oscar who found her, someone she could trust. On the other, the humiliation of being seen in that state by him was almost unbearable. Megan sat on the edge of the bed, emotions overwhelming her. Tears began to roll down her face as the reality of her situation hit her with full force. She had hit rock bottom. Luckily, it was Oscar who found her and took her to a safe place. But what if it had been someone with bad intentions? The thought made her shudder. After a few minutes trying to pull herself together, Megan picked up her phone and called Rebecca. Her friend answered on the second ring, the concern evident in her voice. "Meg, where are you? We're all worried about you." Megan briefly explained the situation, her voice choked with emotion. Rebecca listened in silence, only occasionally making sounds of understanding. "Oh, Meg," Rebecca sighed when her friend finished speaking. "I'm glad you're okay. Oscar called me last night to get your address, but since you had moved recently and I wasn't sure, he thought it best to leave you at the hotel." I need to apologize to him," Megan said, the shame evident in her voice. "I can give you his number if you want," Rebecca offered. "Yes, please." After hanging up, Megan stared at Oscar's number on her phone for several minutes before summoning the courage to write a message. "Oscar, it's Megan. I wanted to thank you for what you did last night and apologize for the trouble. I'm sorry you had to see me like that." She sent the message and waited, her heart racing. But the minutes passed and no response came. Megan sighed, setting the phone aside. She didn't blame him for not wanting to respond. That morning in the luxury hotel was a turning point for Megan. As she showered and prepared to leave the room, she made a promise to herself. This had to stop. She couldn't continue down this self-destructive path. In the weeks that followed, Megan made drastic changes in her life. She enrolled in a gym, starting to channel her frustrations through physical exercise. Morning runs became her new refuge, the fresh morning air clearing her mind and renewing her spirit. She also began to explore outdoor activities she had never considered before. Hiking on trails around the city, yoga classes in the park, even a gardening course. Each new experience helped her reconnect with herself and discover interests she didn't know she had. It was during one of these new activities that destiny prepared a surprise for Megan. She had signed up for a street race for amateur athletes, something she would never have considered a few months ago. The day of the race dawned sunny and pleasant. Megan arrived early at the starting point, feeling a mixture of nervousness and excitement. As she stretched, she heard a familiar voice behind her. "Megan, is that you?" She turned around and found herself face to face with Oscar. He looked as surprised as she did, but a warm smile soon spread across his face. "Oscar, I didn't expect to see you here," Megan stammered, feeling her face heat up. "Neither did I," he laughed. "I didn't know you ran." "It's actually something new," she admitted. "I'm trying to, change some things in my life." Oscar's gaze softened, a mix of understanding and admiration in his eyes. "That's great, Megan. Truly." They shared a moment of silence. Finally, Megan gathered the courage to speak what was in her heart. "Oscar, I wanted to thank you For that night, and to apologize as well. I know I sent a message, but since you didn't reply, I thought..." Oscar gently interrupted her. "No, Megan, I'm sorry. I should have replied. I guess I was a bit confused about how to handle the situation." Megan nodded, understanding. "I get it. I was in a very bad place at that time, but I'm trying to change, to truly find myself." Oscar's smile widened. "And it seems like you're succeeding. Just look at you, participating in a race." The two laughed, the initial tension dissipating. They continued talking until the moment of the start. After the race, exhausted but happy, Oscar invited Megan for a coffee. Sitting in a nearby cafe, they talked for hours. Megan opened up about her struggles, her fears, and her hopes for the future. Oscar listened attentively, offering words of support and encouragement. "When I met you at that party where my cousin Rebecca introduced us, I was really impressed," Oscar confessed. "But it was clear that you were going through a tough time. I'm glad to see you found a better path." Megan smiled, feeling a wave of gratitude. "Thank you, Oscar. Your kindness that other night, it was one of the reasons that made me realize I needed to change." From that day on, Oscar became a constant presence in Megan's life. They started playing sports together, going to the movies, exploring new restaurants in the city. The friendship between them grew with each meeting, offering Megan the support and stability she so dearly needed. When invitations to parties arrived, it was Oscar who gently reminded Megan of her goals, helping her maintain focus on her journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Over time, Megan began to reevaluate her professional choices. With Oscar's encouragement, she decided to go back to studying, this time pursuing her true passion, interior design. The decision to change careers was not easy, especially considering her father's expectations. But Oscar was by her side, offering support and encouragement. He was the one who helped her have an honest conversation with her father, expressing her true desires and aspirations. To Megan's surprise, her father, after initial resistance, proved to be understanding. Megan's honesty paved the way for a rapprochement between father and daughter, allowing them to start rebuilding their relationship on more solid and authentic grounds. As the months passed, the friendship between Megan and Oscar began to transform into something deeper. The exchanged glances lasted a little longer. The casual touches made both their hearts race. There was an undeniable connection between them, and a genuine desire to see each other happy. One night, after a relaxed dinner, Oscar took Megan's hand in his. Their eyes met, and in that moment, both knew that something special was blossoming between them. "Oscar," Megan began, her voice soft, "in these last few months, seeing you flourish, finding your passion and your path, it's been inspiring. And I've realized that I want to be a part of this journey if you'll allow me." Megan felt tears of happiness forming in her eyes. "Oscar, you're already part of it. I don't know if I would have gotten this far without you." The kiss that followed was gentle, full of promises and possibilities. It was the beginning of a new chapter in Megan's life, a chapter of love, growth, and authenticity. Reflecting on her journey, Megan realized an important lesson. We must surround ourselves with people who bring out the best in us. Oscar had been that person for her, a beacon amid the storm, guiding her to calmer waters and a better version of herself. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a comment with a rating from 1 to 5 to show how much you liked it. Also, watch the video that is now appearing on your screen. See you soon.